everybody, Konoko here, back with another tutorial video. Today, I will be teaching you how to draw outlines. Now, of course, I'm going to split this up into small categories. Firstly, I'll be going over the two main ways you can draw and do outlines. The second way will be the 4 to 3 different references that you'll be using to make your outline. And of course, last but not least, would be why you would want to do outlining. Now, with that out of the way, let's go ahead and begin the tutorial. Alright guys, so once you've gotten set up, the first thing you need to do is pull out your Makey Pen. Now, you can do this via opening your watch, going to backpack, and clicking use on your Makey Pen. Or if you have it favorited, you can pull it from your back. Alright guys, so now I'm going to talk about how they do outlining. So, what you need to do is open your palette right here, and the main thing you'll see in a lot of outlines is tube, and most of them will use a neon color. Now, the tube settings can vary. You can use whatever tube settings you want, but the most common one you'll see is using tube faucets at 10 at 100% and having their centimeter size really small. Now you can check on smooth tubes or check it off, it doesn't matter, but most of them look smooth, so we'll keep that on for now. Now, of course, the first way someone would work is with their snapping off, like this. And of course, the player would be outlining whatever they're tracing over. And most of them, if you're a professional, would have connect tube on. Now, if you're new to this and you're just starting to pick up the Makey Pen, then you wouldn't have connect tube on, and you would be drawing shapes like this and connecting them. So it wouldn't look like this, but it would look more so like drawing it around. And of course, most people work with uniform shapes checked off as well when they go to trace outlines. But that was back in the old day. I'm sure people still do it now, so. Now, one of the recent features to the Makey Pen, which has been there for a while but just hasn't properly functioned as it's supposed to be, is Surface. Now, the cool thing about Surface is when people go to trace, they would spawn in, let's say, a cube. Now, with this cube, you would manipulate it to whatever you need, so most people would manipulate it to like a square or a rectangle to put the little reference item on there. And then what you could do is, let me change the color real quick so that it won't look the same, is you could look at the object from a distance and trace it like this. Now, in my opinion, I believe that Surface is one of the best things you could use when it comes to tracing. I feel like it would be a lot easier to the player when it comes to making outlines because you don't have to be face close to the object to trace. I recommend to any player watching this that likes to do outlines to use the Surface feature, because I'm sure it would make your outlining so much easier. And, of course, if you find it difficult, then use whatever method you're comfortable with. Everyone's different. Alright guys, now with that out of the way, let's go ahead and move on to the second topic I have, which is the reference images that you guys use, or can use, for outlining. Alright guys, so the most common and most used method for doing outlines and tracing would be taking a photo of you or the person you're outlining. Alright guys, so the second type of reference image you might use would be a holotar. Now, you can use holotars to make 2D outlines, but if you wanted to take it a step further, you could actually make a 3D outline. As you can see, holotars capture the entire body of your RecRoom character. So, all you really have to do is trace over that character using your Makey Pen. Now, of course, when you get close to the holotar, it disappears. So, the only way to prevent this is, 1. Open your palette, go to Gadgets, go to Math, then go to the Variable chip, and spawn it in. Now what we want to do is wire it to this green part. And now you want to configure it and add an R signal of 1, like that. And as you can see, it'll continue playing. So, now we can get our tube, and obviously you probably wouldn't want to use surface for this unless you had a background and you just want to make it 2D. So if you want to make 3D, then you're going to want to use the snapping on the off. And all you just do is capture the areas like so. And of course, holotars probably aren't going to be the best thing to use when it comes to making outlines or 3D outlines, because unless you can stand perfectly still and not move, the holotar is going to continue moving. From afar it doesn't look like it, but when you're up close it moves quite a lot, so I'm sure you guys can find ways to make it stand still, but this would be one of the ways you could do outlining, like that. Alright guys, so the third reference is gonna sound a bit weird, but the third way you could go about using a reference for outlining would be to freehand. Well, what do I mean by this? Well, what I mean is you can look at an item on your iPhone or iPad or any type of device that you have internet access to and can use the web browser, then just continue looking at that image and pretty much you can just freehand it. Or you can get creative and just make something entirely on your mind. Your brain with a mixture of creativity is the best type of reference you can use. And speaking of devices, that leads us into our fourth type of method you can use for reference images, which is the share screen feature. Now, the only way to obtain this was sending an email to the science department explaining why you would want to have access to this. And of course, depending on how well the email was written, they would grant you access to the sharing screen feature. Sadly, this feature cannot be obtained anymore, but to the very few who have this, you can actually trace on this, and the best part about it is Surface works on it, since it's a physical object. Now, of course, there are many tutorials that tell you how to use this share screen feature. Of course, I'm on PlayStation, so I don't have access to this and I cannot show you how it works. But, thankfully, there are many tutorials out there that will teach you how to use it, or show you. And of course, if you have PC, because this thing only works on PC, then you can browse through some photos online, like, you know, anime or just pretty much anything, and you can trace it. Like, for example, if you want some kind of cool pattern to your room or some nice logo that you would like. Now, I must warn you though, for you and everyone to see, you must be in a private instance. And of course, you can create really cool logos or character models, like that logo that I made, or my RecRoom character that I made. And of course, it doesn't just have to be characters, it can also be wording, abstract designs, or some really cool patterns. Now, some reasons you would want to do outlining is because, one, you could make bank off of it. What do I mean? Well, I don't mean you can get rich or a bunch of currency from this. What I mean is you could start your own little business like a lot of other people do during events, and basically you ask the player to give you or gift you a 2, 3-star, or 4-star box, and in return you give them their own personal outline. The second reason you would want to do this is maybe you just feel like giving your friend a nice birthday present, or you want to do something special for your girlfriend. Well, outlines. You could outline your girlfriend or your friend and give it to them at any point in the day or on a special day like Christmas or their birthday or Halloween. And of course, finally, maybe you just want to make yourself or just do something because you're bored and there's nothing else to do.
So,
hopefully this tutorial helped you and or taught you something about outlining. If it did, leave a like and subscribe. And don't forget to comment down below what you would like to see next. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see all of you, yes you, in the next video. Bye bye.